Hello and welcome back to another episode brought to you by Cryptic Forger. I'm HeedlessRobin and today I'm going to be starting a new series called Civilization 5: The Glory of Rome. Now what am I going to be doing in this series? Well, basically I'm going to be playing Civilization 5 as the Roman Empire, and I'm going to attempt to dominate the world that I'm going to be given. But before we get into it, I'll just give you a basic overview of Civilization 5, as it is the first time that I've shown this game on my channel. So Civilization 5 is a turn-based strategy game that was developed by Firaxis. It is the fifth game in the series, as you can probably tell, and it was released on the 21st of September back in 2010. Some ratings and reviews for this game include a 9 out of 10 from GameSpot, a 9 out of 10 from IGN, and a 4 out of 5 from GameSpy. So, I'll just hop into single player and I will begin to set up the game that I'm going to be playing. Now, for each of the games that you play in Civilization 5, you will have the choice to pick a nation and the leader of that nation. Now, as I've already said, I'm going to be playing this as Rome. Now, the leader for the nation of Rome is Augustus Caesar. And you can actually pick from a variety of leaders. See, we've got anything from China to Egypt, Japan, the Incas, a bit of an unusual one there, India we have, England, Persia, we got Greece, and a few others as well that I haven't quite mentioned. Now each nation has an ability that is unique to them, and for Rome here we can see that it is a plus 25% production towards any buildings that already exist in the capital. Now, a nation also has certain units and buildings that are unique to their nation as well, and these are shown just off to the right here. We can see that the first unit, which is unique to Rome, is this ballista, which is a ranged siege weapon. And then they have also got the Legion, which is a unit as well, but they're more advanced soldiers, and there we just have the Roman insignia for this game. Now, down here you can select the map type for the game. The map type that I will be playing on at the moment is continents, which means the world will consist of a few large landmasses and some smaller islands. So quite a lot of variety in there. You do have the choice to play on Pangaea, which is just one solid landscape, Archipelago, which is a lot of islands, Factal, which is a highly random map that will often form thin, snaky continents, and then the Earth. But although the Earth is quite a fun one to play because you know it, it also gives you quite a considerable advantage because you know where the land is going to be and things like that. So for this game I'm going to be playing on continents just to give it that bit more randomness. Now the map size for this that I'm going to be playing is going to be done tiny, which is, well, you can do quite a few sizes. You have random map size, you can dual, which is the smallest map it gives you, tiny, which we're playing on, small, standard, large, and huge, which is absolutely massive. And the difficulty level is currently on King, which I'll be playing. This is the hard difficulty, but in this Civilization 5 there are a really nice wide variety of difficulties you can play. Just click in here, you can see that the first one is Settler, which is for people who are learning the game, Chieftain for beginners, Warlord is easy, Prince is normal, King is hard, which we're playing on, then there is Emperor, which is very hard, Immortal, which is extremely difficult, and Deity, which only the best players in the world will beat this level, it says. So yeah, I'm not the best player in the world, so I'm just going to play the game on King. Normally I'll play it on Prince. I'm not really that good at the game, so yeah, for this game play I'm going to challenge myself and I'm going to do it on King and hard. Now the game pace is quick. This just basically means that the time will go past quicker. It means it'll take less time to build things and the years will go past quicker in the game. Down here in advanced settings we have the option to change city-states, which is the number of small one-city nations that aren't out to win the game. You can trade with them, you can form alliances with them, and if you make them happy they might sometimes give you gifts of units, luxuries that are in their borders, and it's so on and so forth. But I'll just leave that a nice number of 8. Now here we have the list of people that we'll be facing. Now although when the map size is set to tiny it defaults to 4 players and 8 city-states, which are up here, I only really want to play with a group of 3. So as you see here, I've already set this. I'm going to be facing against Napoleon of France and Elizabeth of England. Now here you can see the teams. You can have multiple nations on the same team, for example, so you could have a 2-on-2 game, or if you were going to do it on the really hard difficulty, you could have a few nations more on your side than the other team, just to throw even more options into the gameplay. Over here we can see that the game era is the ancient era, the world age is 4 billion years, which I'm just going to leave that as it is. Temperature is temperate, rainfall is normal, sea level is medium, and resources are standard. Now down here we've got the victory types. There are 5 different types of victories that you can have in Civilization 5. These are time, science, domination, cultural and diplomatic. Now the time works with basically once you reach a certain year the game will end and whoever has the highest score at that year will win the game. Science basically requires you to build the Apollo shuttle, which will then be fired to space and land on the moon, winning you a space victory. Domination is pretty self-explanatory. You have to, as a nation, destroy all of the other nations' capitals, and that will then win you the game. Cultural requires you to unlock all 5 social policies completely, which I'll talk about a bit more in the game. And a diplomatic victory involves you winning enough votes from other nations when the UN is formed in the game. Now, here are some more advanced game options that I won't really go into. They have things like no ancient ruins, barbarians, etc. Now you can just look at these yourself if you want, you can just pause the video, but I won't go over these really right now. And so we'll just hop into the game. Now here it gives you a bit of a description about the Empire, and in a minute the speaker will read it out for us.
Was the greatest and longest lived of all in Western civilization. And your people single-handedly have shaped its culture, law, art and warfare like none other, before or since. Through years of glorious conquest, Rome came to dominate all the lands of the Mediterranean, from Spain in the west to Syria in the east, and her dominion would eventually expand to cover much of England and northern Germany. Roman art and architecture still awe and inspire the world, and she remains the envy of all lesser civilizations who have followed. O mighty Emperor, your people turn to you to once more reclaim the glory of Rome. Will you see to it that your empire rises again, bringing peace and order to all? Will you make Rome once again center of the world? Can you build a civilization that will stand the test of time?
So yes, there we go. That's the bit of a description. Now each of the different nations has a unique piece that it says at the beginning, but at the end of each description it says the same bit of can you build a civilization that will stand the test of time, which is a really nice term that the Civilization 5 group has chosen to use. And then it also gives you another overview of the ability you have and the 2 units that you can uniquely have as your nation. So let's begin our journey. Now at the very start of the game you start with 2 units. The first unit I'll talk about is the Roman settlers. Well, just settlers really, but these ones are Roman. Now the settlers allow you to build a city. You can get more settlers from other cities further into the game, which will allow you to expand your empire and so forth. Now it's a good idea to build your first city near the sea or near a river, because that will then allow you to build boats, and it gives you quite a nice advantage to then do a lot of other things from that point. So I think I'm going to try and head back down this river towards where I think the sea might be over here, as this looks like it's heading inland, and I'll try and put my first city right next to the sea. Now these are my warriors. Now at the very start of the game you really want them to explore around and try and get a better idea of what the surrounding landscape is like. So I'm just going to head them off in this direction and have a search out here. Now in the surrounding area here you can see that there is a lot of this cloud. Now I believe that in the game this is referred to as the fog of war, But when you're not at war, it just really covers the surrounding landscape and stops you from being able to see what the landscape's like. Over here you can see that there's a landscape that we have been to before, but it's this darker colour because it's not in our line of sight for any of our units. And so we can't see if any units are moving through these tiles or anything like that. But I can't move these guys any further. They have extinguished their move for this turn, and I haven't found my first city yet, so these guys, these settlers, are still settlers, and I don't have my first city. So I'll move on to the next turn and see if I can find the ocean then. Now, oh, thank you. Now up here you can see that it says turn 1. This is a counter of the turns you've taken, and next to it is the current year. We started on 4000 BC and it's now on 3940 BC, so we've been through 60 years. Now later on in the game, time does slow down a bit and it starts to take just a year at a time once you get into really the 1900s. But yeah, I'll head down and see if I can... Oh, that's not good. Now, this is a barbarian encampment. Now, settlers are completely defenceless, really. If barbarians choose to move across into this tile, they will take the settlers and will not end up damaging themselves whatsoever. So I really want to move my warriors down now to try and offer these guys a bit more protection. So if I move them down behind there, that's really as close as I can get, and I've already extinguished the move of the settlers, so I'll just hope that the barbarians remain uninterested in them as they pass by. Which I'm lucky enough that they have. I'll just try and now move away a bit further and mark them with these guys behind. Now I have the option here to attack these barbarians, but it's not really a good choice because between us we have a river, and because it's me who's attacking across the river, it gives me a disadvantage. As you can see down here in the breakdown of the combat, it gives me a minus 20% for attacking over the river, but I do get plus 25% for attacking barbarians. We have a better terrain stance, but the barbarians are fortified. So I think that really at the moment I would come off worse if I was to engage in this combat, and so I'm just going to pass the turn and let them continue on as normal. I just hope that they will not move across to my settlers because they still have the opportunity to do that next turn. And they have, which is really annoying actually. We are on turn 3 now up here, and it is 3820 BC. Now I do have a chance if I attack these barbarians and kill them to get my settlers back, because I don't actually know what I'll do if I die. I think that's actually the end of the game, and that would not be a good start for me whatsoever. So that's actually a pretty good outcome. They took more casualties than I did, so that's pretty good. If they don't move away too much, that should mean I'll be able to get my settlers back next turn. So I'll just click on next turn a sec, and they've gone across into their encampment. But see, now I have to attack across the river, but hopefully I will manage to take them out and get my settlers back. And if you are successful in getting into an encampment, you get a bonus, and here it says that I've recovered 16 gold from it, which is quite nice, but I did end up losing a lot of my unit in the process. And now both of them are out of move, and my warriors are very low on health, which is not a very good start whatsoever. So I'll just move on to the next turn now, and it is now 3700 BC. But one thing that you can do is if your warriors fight, you can then promote them. They gain experience from fighting, and then they can upgrade their abilities, etc. So here it says I can promote them. It says I can either heal them instantly, which will push them back up to full health. Now, this is sometimes a good idea if they're engaged in a big combat and they still have enemies to get rid of. But at the moment, as it seems pretty clear, there aren't any enemies really around at the moment. I think I will upgrade one of these other two, which is Drill 1, plus 20% combat strength when fighting in rough terrain, which is hills, forests, or jungle. And I also have Shock 1, which is plus 20% combat strength when fighting in open terrain, which is no hills, forest, or jungle. Now, looking at the landscape around here, it's kind of a mix, but I think I will go for Drill 1 for rough terrain, as it looks like where we're trying to go is a bit rougher. Now, I will try and head over the river now, because that will then make it a lot clearer to pass down there, and I will move up my warriors as well. Now, if we can found a city as soon as possible, I'll be able to get these guys to heal themselves. So, turn 6. I'll head a bit further down the coast. Here we've got some sugar, which is a bit of a delicacy in the game. And so I'll just move my warriors down the banks as well. Oh, here we have some ruins. Now, these ruins are probably all over the world, they are. And if you go onto them, you will search them, and quite often you'll find good things. You'll often find maps. You might occasionally find some people who are still there, who want to come and be workers for your nation, and things like that, so it's quite nice. But I won't go over there quite yet, because I really want to get my settlers in and settle. Now, actually, this river looks as though it's taking a very long time to get to the end of it. Oh! And here is England. Now, when your warriors come across each other, you will then be able to then communicate with that nation. It'll allow you to declare war, you can trade with them, you can demand things of them, you can discuss things like whether you should link in friendship or declare war on other players together, and then there's just goodbye, which will bring us out, as I don't really want to trade, and I don't really have anything to trade with them at the moment. And in fact, based on how long this river seems to be going to, and the English territory seems to be just there, I think that I will actually just move up here and found my city. And here we go. Here is the first Roman city, and you can see it's Rome. Now, all of the capital cities are the actual capital cities of that nation. So the capital of England over here will be London when we get far enough over to be able to detect it, and so on. But now that we're here and we're founded, I think I'll give my warriors a chance to heal, and all I need to do for that is press the Fortify Until Healed button. And as they're in their own territory, this will mean that they will heal at a faster rate. We've got some deer over here, which is good, provides a lot of food, and we've also got some sugar. Over here we've got wine, sheep, and we've got some ruins over here that I can go and explore. But I think I will start them healing off this turn. Now that we have a city, we also have the option to do a production, and if I click on choose production here, it gives me a list of things I can produce. Now, these little icons at the side tell you what your advisors think you should do. Now, that you have 4 advisors, one is an economic advisor, one is a military advisor, one is a cultural advisor, or social advisor, I believe, and the other one is the science advisor. This icon is the economic advisor, this one is the foreign advisor, sorry, and this one is the military advisor. Now, the science advisor icon is not here, but it's just a blue triangle. And these indicate what those advisors think I should do. Now, although the 2 of my advisors think I should go for a scout, I think to start with I will build a monument and go with my economic advisor. Now that I've founded my first city, I can now start to research my first technology. And for this, I think I will go for pottery. Now, I'm actually going to end the video here, and I'll pick up with the next episode next time. But I hope that you've liked this first episode, and if you have, I hope that you'll hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel for some more episodes. But this has been HeedlessRobin as Cryptic Forger with Civilization 5, The Glory of Rome, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.